You're about to enter a different realm of reality. A realm where the astonishing meets the fantastic. A realm of mystery, of possibility, of the unknown and unimaginable. You're entering a realm where the impossible becomes possible. So prepare yourself as you enter the realm of super awesome science.
The ideas and opinions of any one individual on this program does not necessarily reflect the ideas or opinions of the whole. We recognize that some of the topics discussed on this program may be controversial. Please be respectful of others both on the panel and to our viewers in the chat. Hey!
What is
Brett,
up?
how you doing?
I was trying to share the link out while I was waiting.
Well, let's say hello to whoever's here. Ghosty's here. Hello, Chris.
What's up,
Hope
sir?
you're doing well. Geekstrong says, let's do this. We're all Geekstrong.
Let me get pumped up, man. Today we had a workout at work. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
I really earned it today.
Is it real or is it Vebrex? Brett, how are you doing today?
I'm okay, man. How are you?
Doing good. So, yeah, I wanted to get back into this. I know I had some time away, and I apologize for that. I just was so busy for a couple months that I wasn't able to get any live scheduled, and and also in May that thing we did with the sale kind of ate up most of my time. So we're back, and we'll try to do this more regularly. Hello, Pop My Culture. Is that Shanty or Josh or both?
Probably Shanty.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
She's more up on things. She probably fills Josh in.
Yeah. So, let's start out. We want to talk about the Rake, but we're going to put that off for just a couple minutes. Well, that'll be kind of our main topic today, as you saw in the thumbnail. But what I want to know, Brett, is have you seen anything, for the first 10, 15 minutes here, we'll chat about, have you seen anything in the news or anything lately that strikes our fancy for these paranormal and supernatural mysteries and stuff of science and everything?
I've seen some things about drones. I've seen some things about some UFO sightings out over the ocean in some other countries. And I appreciate when I do hear about it being somewhere else, because we tend to put ourselves in this box where it's always right over us,
Yeah.
And I always think that the world is smaller by degrees because of the internet. So if it's happening here, why couldn't it be happening somewhere else? And so it's kind of reassuring to know that people are seeing things or hearing things, and you take it with a grain of salt because it's what you choose to believe, right? But it's like sometimes even when you doubt, you'll have things happen in your life that you just can't explain if it was what the source of it was, And people say my mind's playing tricks on me, but I believe in the fact that there is something that our minds can do that we are unaware of, that is interdimensional somewhat because of what we see in our mind and what we see in the physical.
Yeah.
And there's something with us with anxiety and stress and different things that happen to our bodies that we don't know and realize that we can travel through that somehow. We just haven't broken that ground.
Almost project that out.
Yeah, and we haven't broken that ground because we're unaware.
It's funny you bring up this, like, things that might be out there that we are just unable to be aware of, in a sense. And I was thinking about that because I've been watching the show. So if you have the Max app, which I think was it's HBO, right?
Yeah.
Max is HBO.
I believe they're going back to the HBO name.
They're going to go back to the HBO name.
I believe so. They
should, because it's
tired of changing it.
Yeah, it's hard to say, like, why is Max, like, that sounds like Cinemax, but it's really HBO, right?
Right.
But anyways, there's a show on there called Paranormal Caught on Camera, and apparently they've got like 7 or 8 seasons of it, maybe 9. I don't know how many. So it must still be going on, because I'm on like season 4 or 5, and they're already talking about stuff that happened in 2022 or 2023, sometimes. So I'm like, it must still be going on if there's another 4 or 5 seasons that I've still got to watch. So, I mean, it must catch all the way up to 2025, But
if you dig into Netflix, you have to search it on Google. There's numbers you can put in that will give you directories. And so there's a number for murder mysteries. There's a number for UFO. There's a number for documentaries and things like that. And it breaks it down into very specific categories. So
cool.
I've heard about it and I've played with it a little bit, but it opens up Pandora's box for content, and there is a lot.
I'll have to check. Yeah.
Think about.
But anyways, so in the show that I've been watching, like I said, I'm into like maybe season 4 or 5. I can't remember which one it was. And there's another 3 or 4 or 5 to go. So I mean, there's a lot more content to watch because each season has like 20 or 30 episodes, you know.
Yeah.
But they show clips. So they show like maybe like a 30-second clip that someone got, and they have experts come in and give their opinion. Like they have a ghost girl, they have a Bigfoot guy, they've got a UFO researcher. So they'll come in and give their opinion on it and talk about the clip and why it's significant in the realm. They don't go into whether it's a hoax or not. They just trust it's real. So they're going in the attitude of trusting this stuff is unexplained and a legit video that someone caught. And a lot of it is security footage, which is amazing to me. Like, so when nobody's around,
and
you've got your security cam on in the bar or the school that you were at or whatever, they come in the next day and they review the footage because there'll be some alert on their system saying the motion detector went off, and they're like, "Oh, great! Did someone break in?" And they see the shadow go across or something, or they see a rake, which is what we'll talk about later today.
Somebody's doing yard work after.
Or in a lot of cases, what's really shocking me is how many security like footage and there's so many webcams that are now out that the Forest Service has put up.
Yeah.
All over our country. Like every national park they have cameras up in the trees watching the trails that people walk on. And when the parks close down and they review the footage overnight, they're seeing Bigfoots everywhere. Like I'm telling you, there are
interesting
from those trail cams
I want to see
that are up in that the Forest Service has put up. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Bigfoot sightings on these security cams. And I am shocked by what I'm seeing on this show. I'm going, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe. So I was talking with my dad about it the other day, and I was like, this means one of two things. It either means that Bigfoot is real, or it means that there are literally tens of thousands of people all dressed up in costumes running around the United States.
Waiting for the park to close.
You know what I mean? Waiting for the park to close. Now, what do you think is more likely? Do you really think there's tens of thousands of people dressed up as
there's
running around the parks?
There's websites dedicated to city webcams. You can look at different cities all over the world, watch traffic, watch city streets. I would hope they open these cams up to that. That'd be really neat to be just hanging out one night watching it in the background and see something.
But and then the other thing is like what you were saying with us. I want to go back to like where you were saying like maybe things are outside of our perception. I was looking at a lot of shadow people. There's also like thousands of shadow people caught on video. These shadows that go through people's houses and stuff. And there's a lot of cases where you see the people sitting in the room and something over there, something off to the side gets knocked off a counter or a door opens or something like that. And when the people are there, they claim, we didn't see anything. We heard the thing open. We looked over there. There was nothing there. The door opened, that the cup flew off the table and shattered on the ground. And when you look at the security footage, there's a shadow over there. So they couldn't see the shadow with their own eyes. You can only see it on the camera.
Yeah.
So cameras,
like orbs too.
Cameras are picking up things on video that are outside of the human being range of vision. So it's I think it's reinforcing my idea that maybe what we say are ghosts and spirits aren't necessarily our dead relatives. What if there's another thing living on Earth that's been here all of time since the beginning, but they vibrate in a frequency that we can't see. They
Yeah.
reflect light in either infrared or ultraviolet, so that it's outside of our range of sight. But yet dogs can see them. Because there's lots of videos where dogs are freaking going nuts.
They have
They're
like
barking
different
and
filters
going
in their
crazy.
eyes. They
Yeah,
can
they're
see at
barking
night.
and going crazy at what's in the corner, and the human sees nothing. Their owner's like, "There's nothing over there, dog.
Right.
What are you doing?"
Right.
And then when they look at the security footage, there's a shadow in the corner, right where the dog's barking.
Yeah.
You know,
Like the way I see it too, like just imagine you're looking in your room and take a still shot of the room and then take a second still shot and then slightly bump those pictures off from each other, just slightly. That to me would be like that we're like a peek into the next dimension, because maybe like the prism of light, you catch it in the corner of your eye, you see movement, you look, it's not there because you've sort of straightened the image out when you look direct.
because you
It's
got
those
both
little
eyes.
things in the corners, you know, and just off to the side. And what was that? And it's maybe
that
there's
could be,
something there.
That could also be why people claim babies can see them.
Mhm.
Young children can see them.
Their
It's
vision's
just
not
like,
fully
you know
developed.
how, and you know what the other thing is? It's similar to our hearing. You know how the younger you are, the more you can hear frequency wise.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you can't hear the higher or lower frequencies. The frequency of what you hear, the band narrows. And maybe that's true with our eyesight too. When we're like 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, we can see this stuff. By age 6 or 7, our eyesight's
And then when you need these to
gone into
see
the
everything.
range. Yeah, and then by the time you're 50, you need these.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what if, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
For sure.
They're saying shadow people
Love to bother
me when I was a kid. I never know if it was actually real or sleep paralysis, but
sleep paralysis is a real
had it
thing
as an
too, man.
adult.
I've been in that situation a few times.
Hey TJC, how you doing?
What's up?
Good to see you. Hey
Keith
Keith.
Knight, Michael Knight's younger brother with the faster car.
Right, there you go.
Better theme music. Well, I don't know. Knight Rider's theme was pretty cool.
And he's like, "Oh, great! I'll never be able to close my eyes tonight." He's scared already.
They'll see that physique, man, through the blankets. They'll be like, "Don't mess with him. That guy's
like,
made out of stainless steel."
Yeah, he's not only geek strong, he's ghost strong too.
That's right.
So he's gonna get us.
He could make a series of channels, a ghost strong channel.
Yeah. He's gonna cut into our audience. He'll be like, "I just got this ghost popcorn bucket." He's like, no, but it's fascinating stuff. You know, I think that, like, what if there's stuff that, because we think about animals too. Like, we only just recently started shining, like, what is it? Is it ultraviolet, like lights on butterflies and birds and other animals, like even mice? And you realize that they reflect like these blues and greens and really purplish, like ultraviolet colors that we can't see, but the other animals, like their prey and their other animals, can see that light. And they, like, what we see as a plain like brown moth, in the ultraviolet spectrum, which is what some of the animals can see, it's bright, vibrant blue and everything. You know what I mean?
I think sometimes too, out of all the, you know, I think when you delve into this kind of thing, you develop several theories about several subjects within this realm of the unknown, the unanswered. And I look around, and there is a prevailing theory that humans are not from this planet originally.
Well, that's the other one too.
But we got stuck here, right? And so if you think long and hard about it, just think for a second, and you think about all the things that thrive here, and the things that did well here had scaly skin, had hard outer shells, and we're like the inside of a turtle. And we get sick from the weeds, and the wind blows wrong. We have the flu or a cold, or there's bacteria can take us out.
We get sunburned.
Sunlight can burn us, and
our eyes can't deal with the sun.
Cold can freeze us, and all these different things. We're not really made for this place, but we have the advantage of our our wits, our smarts that we've developed over the millennia. So there's that too. It's one of those things where you get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole.
It's a funny thing, but it's like, when people study Mars and what it's like on Mars. Now think about this. What if it's not Mars? What if it's the asteroid belt? Because then here's where I'm going. Okay, so like when people study the position where Mars is in our universe, in our solar system, it has less light than Earth. So if there was an atmosphere like Earth around Mars, then that atmosphere would filter out even a little bit more of the sun, and we would not get sunburned on Mars, where we get sunburned on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And if we evolved here on Earth, our skin would have evolved to be hardy enough to not get sunburned. You know what I mean? Because we would have been naked when we were first evolving. We didn't evolve wearing shirts like with Mickey Mouse on them. You know what I mean? So how could our species have survived for so long running around basically naked and getting sunburned all the time? That doesn't make sense. And our eyes don't work in this sunlight. We're not really adjusted.
Don't look. Yeah.
So it's like, but on Mars, our eyes would be perfectly adjusted for that planet.
But we have a lifespan of, let's just say, maxed out 100 years, and you have turtles that are 200 years old, and you have alligators that are 200 years old, birds that are 85 years old, and things like that. It's like, well, what in their genome?
A brother called Michael.
What in their genome could we unlock that would give us that same ability?
Hey, Palps.
But
here's what I'm saying. What if the asteroid belt wasn't just always asteroids?
Well,
what if that was the planet, and what we see as Mars today is the moon of
I don't want to get off the topic of the Rake, but let me just throw this out there.
And when it got destroyed and turned into the asteroid belt,
out in the universe,
and landed on Earth.
out in the universe, there were great engineers. And the engineers put together a sort of highway system, an interstellar highway system, if you will. You get to a certain point of it, and then you can make a jump to the next system, right? So in our particular system, with the 8 planets now, right? Because they ruled out Pluto.
9, if you consider the one that's
they brought them together close enough to each other that you could jump from one to the other, and they had to develop a system. The system would have been similar to what we've found proof of in the pyramids. It was a fuel system, fueling to me the way to travel. You could go to the moon as a station, jump over to Neptune and Uranus, et cetera, and keep going. Yes, I said Uranus.
Jump into Uranus.
And you would have to do this series of jumps in order to get to where you could leave the system and go to another system. And that would have led to our sort of knowledge that we know something hit the earth and blew up and took out life here. And there was a greater calamity than that, even, that took out this system. And it not only did it mess it up here, but it set off a chain reaction and ruined it on all the other planets. And that's why they're uninhabitable. And we just had certain things here that made it inhabitable with plants and sea life and things like that saved it just by the hair. And then things start over, and nobody has a record of how to reset the system or start it back up or rebuild it. You're finding these things down in the ground, and you're finding proof of all of these chemical things. And why would they need this? And it used to be lush environment where they're at, and all of this stuff. And there's probably clues and hints that people have been covering up, because it would destroy all of our modern religious beliefs and political beliefs, and it would actually bring humanity together, probably.
Yeah.
Why else do we all have this same dream as humans? We share this thing within our minds where we have roughly the same ideas. There's never anything that's really brand new. It's just something already said in a different way that makes sense, and then things click into place, and now you have an iPhone. And then we all have this dream of going to the stars, of going somewhere else. We talk about heaven and
we're
earth.
Born to explore.
Yeah. And I think that's something where, like, if you find a particular kind of dog breed, and they're known for this hunting. The dog grows up and they have that instinct. I think that's what the humans, we have it in our DNA.
Because we came from out there.
And we have to find a way to get a little microphone and camera into that and unlock it and watch that movie and learn and watch the YouTube how-to and then go. And we're just not there. And it may be thousands of years away.
He says, I'm a true believer, having had paranormal experiences in the past and have taken photos which are investigated and remain unexplained. That's cool. Maybe you should come on sometime, Keith, and tell us about it. Good to see you, Ricardo.
Ricardo, what's up,
sir? How you doing?
Yeah, I just got I was just on my podcast the other day. We had a video someone sent us.
Oh, that's
from
cool.
Their Ring doorbell, and they had orbs.
Wow.
That set the door alert off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've seen that. Yeah, they set off the orbs can set off the motion detector.
Yeah, it was wild.
Recording. Greetings from Barsoom. How you doing? Good to see you, Delvin. All right. Well, that brings us to the Rake. Do you know anything about the Rake, this monster?
I've seen a couple different versions of what people would call it. I mean, my first instinct wouldn't be to call it that. You know, it'd be a creature. Yeah. It's not a ghost.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a ghost, in my opinion. It's a creature that's physical, that's there, but can somehow disappear or float between those layers, like I talked about.
Yeah.
And
or it's freaking fast as hell.
And then you know, you have to kind of be able to step back and watch some of these and be able to weed out the fact that, you know, somebody could fake this.
Oh yeah.
For attention, for views, for clicks, and then also who's going to have their camera at the ready when it happens, or it's the person who's seen it and says, hey, I'm going to catch this on video today, watch this, and they open the door and they come in on it or something like that, and it's almost as freaked out as you. And then they're found in similar locations quite often. So my theory on that was, again, it's sort of this interdimensional doorway and they're trying to get back into the door and it's closed on them or something.
Yeah. Well, I it's another thing that's fascinated me is like between watching the show and then doing some research and looking up videos and stuff on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and things. And I've come to realize that there's again, this is another subject where I didn't know. I knew about the Rake, and I've sort of known of them as like almost like ghouls or something like that. You know, like in the past, I think like in the ancient times in the past, people would have just called this thing a ghoul or something along those lines. And nowadays, I think that this showed up on Creepypasta first on the internet, where they were talking about these thin gray, like monstrous things, and they called it the Rake. So through the internet, the term ghoul has now morphed into the Rake. So essentially, what we're talking about with
Ern's got one.
Today, what we're talking about with this Rake today is really throughout history been known as a ghoul. Yeah, and he's got a rake in his yard.
One that keeps reappearing out in his yard.
Yeah, it's leaning against a tree.
Where the leaves fall convenient. That's funny.
Yeah, that's crazy. How you doing, Vern? Good to see you. Hope you're feeling better. Vern's was out of sorts. But to give everybody in the audience an idea what we're talking about, let's play one of the videos to see if we can come up with what this thing is. And this one might be, this one I think is pretty good. Check this out. This is a Rake. And we'll pause it so you can really see what this thing looks like.
Hello?
Can I pause it? I don't know if I can pause a video. Again, and then we'll unmute ourselves.
Hello?
Unmute your mic. Like, what do you think is going on there? Like, what is that thing? Just look at it. Like, what do you think?
Humanoid, but then there's features about it that are not.
Yeah.
it's sort of being territorial, and then I need to know, are they in an abandoned space? Are they in some place they're cleaning out?
Yeah, so supposedly this was an abandoned house somewhere. I can't remember where it was in the United States. I should have wrote down. I know what some of these are from, but this one here is here in the United States, and this guy was doing. He heard the house was haunted. It was abandoned. It's been broken down and abandoned for
And
like.
it's from the outside looking in on them, which is even
No,
better for
he's in. I think he's inside the
yeah,
house,
yeah. So that's
and then
even
it
better for
comes.
people that
Yeah,
like me who say, I don't care if you tell me it's a haunted house. It's the Yoda thing. It's only what you take with you is in there, right? But
yeah,
this is
yeah.
from the outside peeking in, like,
Peeking in. Yeah.
yeah.
And he didn't expect to see that, and that's what scared the hell out of him, why he screams and runs. And but yeah, supposedly this guy, it was down south somewhere in the United States. I want to say like Kentucky or Alabama or something. I don't know, Tennessee or whatever, I don't know. But could have even been like New Mexico or Nevada, somewhere in that stretch
It
of
was
the country.
Alabama. It was that guy's mother-in-law, but
Yeah, there you go, there you go. But yeah, it's just like this creepy looking gray monster, and it just jumps out like that. And it's kind of like, you know, if that was somebody in a costume, they'd have to be a really thin, weird
well,
looking person.
how often are you gonna wait around for somebody to scare? Like you said about the
Yeah,
you said about the Bigfoot,
Bigfoot.
how many
Yeah,
people are waiting for the park to close so they can go run past the camera?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's only such a chance of that too. So, well, look, like it said at the beginning, it's opinions, it's not fact. But if you just take it for what it is, it's like something to me that's being territorial, saying, "Get out of here. This is my space."
And he's saying, "Why stop filming and run away?" He's
Well,
like,
I
"They would have had
mean,
a great video." But
you're
if you're in that
filling your
space,
diaper, so to speak.
yeah, if you're like
What do
at
you think
that spot,
what do you think though if you saw that? What would be your reaction when you did like if it's coming sort of in the room at you and you leave the room, would you want and you're out it's outside. I think I would instinctually kind of look outside for it, you know?
yeah, I know. It's like, would you want to leave the building and be out in the open where that thing is? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because
But
then you're kind
you
of
know
away and you can kind of look around.
what?
I don't see it.
What got me is that like this guy was a paranormal investigator investigating a haunting. He had like
Oh,
EKG,
okay.
whatever. What are those things? The EM readers or
EVP?
whatever, and other things, so that he
Is it
could
the
PKE.
EVP for the sound or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, like the EVP or PVP, whatever. I don't know what their freaking meters are.
I think it's EVP.
Yeah, and they had and he was supposedly doing ghost studies and trying to talk to him and stuff for like a couple hours in this place before this thing happened. And then this thing jumps into the window and scared the hell out of him, and he took off. And he didn't go back. He ran to his car and drove home and didn't come back supposedly. And but it's like, so he wasn't expecting to find this. But I, after seeing a lot of these kind of videos, especially on that paranormal caught on camera show on Max, I was like, I would bring a gun. I don't think I would go on a paranormal investigation without bringing a weapon of some kind.
The Rake
Because if
is not
that because if that thing jumped out of the window and didn't
yeah,
stay in the window and it actually crawled in and was coming towards me,
yeah.
I sure as hell am gonna shoot the damn thing. I'm not
Well,
gonna
and
stand
it
there and
seemed to be of the flesh, so it seemed to be like if you think in terms of life, if it was just life and death, if it was just that simple, there's an in between, and it feels like that would be in between
oh, if
those
my
2.
bullet went right through it, then I would be freaked out even more. And
Yeah.
imagine the film that would be. Imagine the video you would catch.
John's found dead
Boom,
in the
boom,
corner with
boom,
his
boom, and
hands
if
like
nothing's
this.
happening, it's still coming, as the bullets fly through it. Then no one could claim it being a hoax then. You'd be like,
Yeah,
this isn't a fucking person in a costume.
yeah.
Like, but, and just thinking about a lot of these kind of like monster sightings where things are running at people, and I'd be like, how did you not, like, how has someone not shot this thing by now? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so many people, especially
You know
now.
what's tough? What's tough these days is we get inundated with so many fakes for the clicks. But I can tell you from experience, there's some websites out there that are probably banned by now that used to show a variety of links, and you would click on a link and it would show you photos or a video, and it would be like highway accident scenes
Oh yeah,
or something after where the police body cam footage when they found a serial killer and his victim or all this different stuff. And you're wondering how in the heck are they getting this? Because after a while, it looks like it's been produced
yeah,
because it is real, and your mind is just trying to be safe, put you in a
yeah,
safe place and say, that's just effects. But it's like when you see that, then you see something out and about, you go, oh my gosh, that looks just like that, you know? So
yeah.
I guess my point is that when you see all of these and it's like, then you really want to see it for yourself. Like
Oh,
you're gonna go
yeah.
somewhere.
Well, I mean, I feel that way about
Albeit
Bigfoot.
John doesn't want to have it chase him
I,
out of the room, but
I feel that way about Bigfoot, but I don't think I want to run into a rake. I mean, that would scare the. There's one video in particular that would have scared the hell out of me, and
I
I'll
think do you have
show
the
you.
one with where it comes out of the floor?
Yeah, there's one there. I was a police officer for 20 years and ran from nothing, but if I saw that, I'd be breaking athletic records. And he's like, so a professional paranormal was caught off guard by the unexpected. Yeah.
Well, again, you're inside thinking something's inside, and this thing comes from the outside, like, aha.
It stopped at the window. It just wanted to say hello. But yeah, let's play the next clip and talk about that one too.
Right.
So here's one where this thing crawled up. Now I know this one was filmed in India, and this brings in the question of why is the film so bad quality? Like this was filmed off someone's phone, but you have to wonder like what the hell's wrong with your phone? Because watch
I
this.
read someone's comment one time. They said, in this day and age with the phones we have, people are still writing off video footage of the unexplained as if they inscribed it on the side of a potato.
Yeah, watch. This is crazy.
There it is, the potato cam.
Yeah. It's so bad. And like you can't even see his friends who are playing the guitar, you know? But something caught the corner of his eye, and he moves the camera over, and they see this crawling towards their friends. And he's like, have mercy,
Wow.
Allah. And he's like, have mercy,
And
you
it's
know?
brightly lit.
Yeah, it's just like crazy. And his friend looks, and he couldn't see it. And when he moved the camera out of his face, the guy who was filming couldn't see it. So again, this is something that could only be seen when he holds the camera up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a really weird, like that thing, if I saw that behind me crawling toward me, I would not be sitting there with my guitar anymore. I might end up be bashing it over the head with the guitar.
How about this?
Like,
how about this thought though?
Crap away from me, you know?
How about this thought? How about, okay, so I said the analogy of the two, same photo, in between them is that dimensional space that we cannot see. How about this? How about when you do put the camera up like that, that's what actually opens that door?
Yeah, you think so?
So like nothing could harm them at this moment until the camera sees it. When the camera sees it, it opens that door. Now it can harm them.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't think I would still be sitting there. I mean, even if you say,
well, because the guy's going to try and tell you, like, you got to move. And he's like, what? I don't see anything. And then he puts the phone down. There's nothing there. He's like, what the hell? But he looks on his footage and sees it. And it's sort of struggling to get over there.
I know. It looks like it doesn't have legs or something. Like, I don't know. But that would scare the crap out of me.
I just want to say, if that's fake, now, obviously, there's a chance that it is. Man, it looked a lot like the other footage.
Yeah.
Almost exactly.
It can only be captured on low resolution cameras. Yeah.
Exactly. The potato cam.
If they had used a new HD camera, no one would have seen it. Yeah.
Right. It's gotta be pristine 1980s technology.
Cameras are portal finders. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be crazy if it was that case? You have to have like the old school VHS camera and find another portal.
That would be funny. Yeah. Here's another one. Now, this one is the one that really freaks me out because where I grew up, it was a forested area. Like I grew up on a farm, and we were surrounded, like we had our plots of fields where we grew hay and grew our vegetables, and where the cows and the sheep and stuff were out in those fields. But around our field, the whole one side was a forest, and then the whole back was a forest that went up over a hill, and it went into this like swampy, scary area where as a kid I used to claim was Dagobah. It looked like Dagobah, and there was like the tree made this. There were trees that kind of grew with vines hanging down, and they almost made like a little hut area.
Yeah.
I used to tell my brother, "Oh, that's where Yoda lives." Like it was, because it was almost like a little hole you could crawl in and be under this little canopy of vines and grown trees. And I was like, "Yoda lives in that." Mark's like, "Really? This is Dagobah?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But so I mean, I spent a lot of times out in those woods just screwing around as a kid. And if I had gone out there and run across this, I think I would have moved. I wouldn't even live in
Never
the
go out
house,
there again.
Because watch this thing. This is right in their backyard. Guy supposedly was coming up on this thing and listened to it. And then you zoom in with the camera to get a better slot. Like we blew it up. And you can see, again, why is it blurry though? But you can see its arm. And like, what is that? And then of course the guy starts running. He runs back to his house,
I've seen some things in the woods that I can't explain. That no matter how hard I tried to explain it to you, it just, no. I had a person with me, so there's no question that we both saw it. We just don't know what the heck it was. And we were driving and we saw it across the ditch, and it stood up. And I was like, gotta keep going. But
wow. I got a VHS camcorder at
Goodwill. Don't scream. Is that his movie?
For $3, it'll come with a tape of a birthday party for aliens. I love VHS. I'm glad I kept a few of them from childhood. Set them up and see what creatures are running around.
Favorite movies are on VHS, rated X.
Looks like footage from Don't Scream, copyright.
Is that a film? Is that a film he knows something about?
Yeah, Geekstrong might have. Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. But let's look at that again real quick. This is so scary. It's like, what? Your light shined on that. Like, I don't think I would still be there. But again, it's not running towards him, right? It's staying there. So it stays there. It doesn't run towards him. So I don't know. I mean,
well, it was like that sort of shout, scream, whatever it was sort of a thing to say, get away, stay away from me.
They show a really low. Don't understand how that can happen. Send John a text of a video from your phone.
So take the video of the video and then text it. Yeah.
Dude, scrape leaves off the lawn. Yeah. Dinner time. I have to hop off. That's freaky AF. I love it. Bye, everyone. Bye. See you later.
Later.
That scream would cause a brown trouser time. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I got one more. This guy came home and found this on his roof. Like he got out of his car and he's walking toward his house. This, I think, was actually in Mexico. The screaming monster we just saw was again in the southern United States.
Okay.
This one is in Mexico. This is down, south of us in Mexico. And this one, he saw it up on his roof. Like, look at that. Like, again, but it's like, why is your video so blurry? Was he zoomed in like really far? Like, what? Why couldn't he have gotten a clear video of this if he was right in his driveway?
I think that's what I was trying to say earlier, that until I see those really clear videos and someone's right up on it or catch it, it's the one last little shred that keeps you from,
Yeah.
believing it fully. But, of course, we could argue this could be manufactured, but then you could also say, well, there's so many factors here.
Is the creature blurring the video, like making it not film in focus?
I mean,
Is he like
that's
some psychic power that controls
that, but also, it's actual down to its cellular level. It's vibrating at a different frequency than what we see,
maybe.
or where it's appearing from is, we're gonna make a horror movie and call it The Blur.
The Blur. There you go. Yeah. but the weird thing about that video is, like, if you were gonna fake that, is someone laying down on the other side of the roof and they've got like sticks with a puppet and they're moving
And
it
it's
around?
blurry?
Or well, the reason it's out of focus is because he didn't want you to see that it was a puppet.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I can tell you exactly, like when you said earlier about there's things caught on camera. So right here in Indiana, in southern Indiana, there's a library that was built in, like, the building was originally built in the 1600s or something. It was redone. It's made into a library. The cameras catch a ghost of a young girl that goes in between the book shelves, the aisles, and you can plainly see her at certain times. And they actually set it up where you can log in and watch the camera.
Yeah.
And people see this
It
all the
happens
time,
all the time,
but
right?
nobody sees it when they're there, yet they kind of feel an eerie presence. So it's
Yeah.
like, what plane of existence has her on sort of repeat where she's kind of stuck in those few feet of space?
Yeah.
The camera picks her up. There's a shadow.
There are some paranormal experts who claim that that's called residual energy repeating itself, like, in a sense. So, like,
Scientology,
like they say, like, okay, so if these ghosts are of actual people who have passed away, that there's a chance that every day of her life for, say, 20 odd or 30 odd years, she worked at this library and was constantly every day going down that aisle putting a book
It's
away.
residual energy.
And that movement of her going in that aisle and putting a book away every single day, because it was a very popular aisle for books, just left that energy there after she died. You know
Sort
what
of
I
an
mean?
imprint,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's like imprinted on that space, you know? And what you're seeing is not necessarily like a ghost that has a consciousness. You're seeing a residual energy trail
Right. It's like
left
you're
there
watching
from
you're
her
watching a
repetitive
video.
motion. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
See,
Whereas
that's the other thing too, is energy once created cannot be destroyed, right? So
yeah,
um our minds can create energy.
yeah,
And our minds can continue to provide energy for a lot of these things. And if you tell me, don't go in the basement of my building when you come by, I've heard it's haunted and there's a guy with a beard. Now I've got this image in my head. I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to project and see there's a guy with a beard over there holding a rake. He's got
holding
Vern's rake.
Yeah.
So you can definitely project things and put it in the physical in front of you.
Dino solved the rake. I bet it is his wife taking a poop in the woods, and she screeched with a flashlight.
Don't look at me. I didn't even know women poop, so they must all go out in the woods.
That's a scorpion. That's the tail. That's one big ass scorpion, though. That's a balloon. He thinks it's a balloon. See? Yeah, but that's what I mean. Could it be some kind of weird, like a couple of balloons together? Like, maybe
It'd be a puppet
is.
and the guys are screwing
You know?
around. Let's make a fuzzy video.
Yeah. And then here's the last clip I got about the rake today, but we can get into more of this discussion.
Hello?
We'll play.
Hello?
Like what? Like that hand. If I saw that hand, I'd be like, I am freaking out of this attic. There's no
Like
way I'm
y'all got
staying
frogs.
here. You know?
Y'all got frogs.
Yeah.
Again though, the head looks similar to the. You can start to see the head come up, but the white
Yeah.
patch sort of looks like the other one. So there's something
Yeah.
there.
But it's just what was freaky about that video is the guy climbed up into his attic to see what the noises were. Okay. He heard noises in his
He should
attic
have been wondering why it was such a damn mess.
for many days, like for months. He heard noises in his attic. So one day he pulls the attic door down and climbs up into the attic. Okay. And he's on the other side. Where that creature's coming out is the ladder to get in and out of the attic. So he's on the other side.
He's screwed.
Filming back as this thing climbs out, and he's got nowhere to run now.
Oh my
He just got
gosh.
scared shitless, and he said that like
It's treason then.
he
I'm gonna pull the Emperor Palpatine. We're going. We're
he
going.
said he turned around and like ran to the far end of the attic, and when he turned the camera back around, he couldn't find it. So he doesn't know if it climbed up and hid somewhere
Oh
or if
god.
it climbed back down. So
House is going up for sale.
he basically like said that he bolted for the attic stairway and looked down and didn't see anything and just climbed back down those stairs real quick to get out and shut the attic door like it was one of those ones in the ceiling, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he goes, he doesn't know what the heck or where it went, you know, but he thinks it might still be up there because he's heard things moving around and he doesn't want to go back up there. You know?
There was a trend on TikTok a few years ago. Some different creators would make content where it was videos or live streams or something. You hear a sound, they'd look out the window, you'd see some eyes glowing, you see this large creature sort of hovering around, and it would, it would make the hair raise on your neck a little bit, like, damn, that was pretty good, or they're talking in a video and you see something peek around a corner behind them, and they produce the content, but you watch enough of that, you get a little jaded, a little green, a little numb, and then you see something where there's a real thing, and you just I think that happens a lot with news reporting and different things too. They give you so much stuff that's bloated and kind of over accentuated that when you do see the real thing, you just go, that's not.
Yeah.
That's nothing. They desensitize us,
I like Dino's thing. With my luck, when I pass, I'll be on report popcorn bucket hunting at Regal Cinema. He'll be haunting a Regal. You got a new popcorn bucket?
That's Madame Leota back there on the blanket.
You got a new popcorn bucket? You got a new popcorn bucket?
Stitch is furry. So we had, when we moved in, we had a sunroom, and then the sunroom had a bunch of wicker furniture. We bring it down to the basement. My wife sticks this chair in here. I'm like, who the hell's gonna sit there? So I put the Madame Leota. But I'll tell you, right, if you keep following the finger and you see that little light right there, that's my 3D printer. It's going crazy right now. Trying to make a Boba Fett helmet.
So that's what's moving. He was like, what's moving around back there?
Trying to scare me. I'll tell you what, there have been some times where I have been sitting here and somebody would mention that in the chat, just joking around. And I'm like, man, quiet down here. It's dark.
Well, that's the other thing I've seen. I know we're getting off the subject of the Rake, but I've seen that happen. They've shown like on that paranormal caught on camera thing, because they're getting into like 2022 and 2023, 2021, where they're showing footage from like recent years. It's like a lot of stuff has happened to people. Like there was one kid, he's a video game player on Twitch, and like you could see he's playing, he's got the full screen of the game he's playing, and he's down in the corner, and someone,
Warcraft, I'm sure,
someone in the text in the chat was like, am I weirding out, guys, or does anybody else see that door moving back and forth? And the door behind the kid is opening and closing and opening and closing, and he's the only one home. And in fact, he's not even at his house. He was house sitting for his friend and brought his system over so that he could live stream playing the game still while he's house sitting. and his friend's house ends up being haunted. The doors opening and
Oh
closing.
my gosh.
And then like he turns around and looks because he sees the chat talking about it. And when he looks, the door slams and then it like flies back open and all the lights go on in the hallway to where this door behind the door, and things start flickering and stuff. And he runs over there to look. He's like, someone's got to be here pranking me. And he goes over in the hallway to look, and you could see the kid, like in the video, his face goes totally white. Like he's like, there's nobody here. You know, there's nobody here. It's just me and the guy's dog, you know? So it's like when you see that stuff, and there's another one where a girl is showing off like makeup and she's doing her nails and she's like, and I really like this color and everything. And there's a doll behind her. And I'm not kidding. Like in the video, the doll stands up, comes forward, and goes off the chair that it's sitting on. And I'm just like, and then she turns when it falls. Like, what the fuck just happened? She's looking and she goes, the doll fell. And people in the chat are like, it didn't fall. It got up and jumped off the chair.
It ran.
Like, you know what I mean? And she's like, in the event, she went back. The story goes, she went back and rewatched the video and submitted it to Paranormal Caught on Camera.
Oh, jeez.
They get the people. They sometimes get the people who submitted the video to come on and talk about it on the show. And they were like, yeah, I was just sitting there doing the live stream talking about my makeup and stuff, and my chat people in the chat were going freaking nuts. And she goes, now I don't want to be in that room. I want to move. She's like, I'm ready to move. I want to get rid of the doll. I just don't want to be anywhere near this thing, you know? And they were like, where'd you find the doll? And she's like, I got it from like some antique store. I found it basically out thrifting, you know? And she goes, I thought it looked kind of weird, so I bought it. And they were like, yeah, you brought home a demon, you know?
Yeah.
You probably brought home a demon trapped in a doll. It's
yeah.
like
the back seat.
Yeah. But I just would be like, I think dolls are creepy no matter what. But if one stood up behind me and fell off the chair or off the table, I'd just be like, nope, that doll's
Well, I
going
think
in the
that
bird barrel. I am throwing that thing away or catching it on fire, shoot it with a shotgun. I don't care, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting rid of that doll. You know.
I think that a lot of modern horror storytelling, really just any storytelling of that nature, even science fiction stuff, a lot of it deals with portals and doors. And I think that's because it comes probably from our dreams.
Our
Like
dreams.
I was joking about Phantasm. They had a portal in Phantasm. When the guy looked in, he was trying not to fall in, and he saw those little squished people taking the corpses and all that stuff, and they look like little Jawas or something, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, choose to believe if you want or whatever, but what have you. But you know, there's so many things that people choose to believe and hang on to with their faith, religious things, historical things, and other people put no weight into it, just like this stuff. Some people believe it, other people put zero weight on it. It's in one ear out the other, or it's just entertainment. I think there's a hint of something there. The Rakes, I don't know. Like I said, they did look similar in these different videos, so there's something to that. But you just got to decide for yourself, you know, what you want to believe. I've just had things happen through my life where I went a really long time not being phased by any of that, not believing in any of that, and then I had things happen where I go, I can't explain this.
Yeah.
And if I tell you, I sound like a complete nut, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that makes me believe there's something else out there and there's a way to get to it. And the darker side of it is kind of man-made, where we try to make everything evil. It doesn't necessarily have to all be evil.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know.
other thing too I was thinking about. Yeah.
It could just be that
Like-
it's just the wonderment of it, you know.
Yeah. Because I can't. What's really funny is that, like, I think if I were in the woods or out in an abandoned location and I saw that thing jump in the window or climb up into the attic like that, or any one of these situations from the videos we saw, I would have been scared shitless and probably would have booked it. I would have been out of there so fast that, I'd be like that guy screaming and running, because I just, it's like, what the crap is that? I don't think I could be the kind of person where I actually see something. I don't think I could be the person that would walk up and see, what the heck is that? You know what I mean? Like, if I saw something that resembled a possum or looked like a squirrel or a raccoon or even a Bigfoot, or an ape or a caribou or a bear, I'd look at it and go, oh, look, there's that. Let's get closer and see if we can
Yeah,
get a
you
better
have sort of a
video of it. You know what I
dictionary that
mean?
tells you danger
Yeah.
or
But if I saw like that thing, the rake, a ghoul, or whatever you want to call it, like, I don't know what that thing can do. Like, is it really going to eat me? Is it strong enough to like just run up on me so fast it's like tearing my arms off and blood's flying all over the place? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or is it like, you know, just something that, like, what if it's screaming is not screaming? What if that's its language and it's saying, hey, I've got some bananas over here. Do you want to have a party? And really, it's nice if you were to walk over and be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, dude, how you doing?" Like,
Well,
but
it's like people see something they don't understand and they get scared. So then it instantly becomes something bad.
yeah,
Maybe not the rake so much, but maybe some of the other stuff. It could be simply, like you said, an energy trail. Something's on repeat. You keep seeing it. Or it could be somebody trying to give you a message from somewhere else.
yeah.
We just haven't figured out how to bridge that.
Angus Scrim worked at the pharmacy.
No.
Oh. I met Angus Scrim once. He was on.
That's
my
a scary
podcast.
dude.
Yeah, he was on my podcast talking about his love of books and reading.
Holy crap. He's still alive?
No, that was like 5 or 6, 10 years. Boy, that was probably like, in my head, it was 5 or 6 years ago, but realistically, it was
Like
15 years ago.
Oh wow.
Like 12 to 15 years ago, it was realistically, I've thought about bringing back out some of those short interviews. We do like 5-minute interviews with people, like that.
Put him
And
out there.
I've thought about putting them up on YouTube and like
Do
maybe
it.
just putting some pictures to it so you see who it is, because we just recorded them with audio back then. But
just take a potato camera with you, Vern. Just record it with a potato.
My lowest resolution camera ready in case I find something. I'll process in MPEG 1. Don't even do it in MPEG 3 or 4. Do it in MPEG 1.
MPEG as in a small peg poked into the side of a potato until it makes a picture.
That Rake has skinny arms. The kit bench its own weight, yeah. But, because like, it's different, I think. Like, if I were in an area where someone said this place is haunted, and I have a hard time believing in ghosts, like as in my dead relative
right
is still wandering around this place. And I think part of it is because I'd rather believe that we disappear into nothingness than believe that we come back and wander around the same room of a building for all of eternity. Like, to me, that's hell. Like, really? You mean I'm going to be stuck in this room for the next 10 million years just walking around, like opening doors and closing them again? Like, that just seems ridiculous. Like, what kind of afterlife is that?
If your soul and your brain was a spark of energy and you died and the spark left your body and it just traveled, it would be, in that sense, able to travel anywhere and pass through dimensions and pass through the portals.
Hopefully,
pass through the universe, go to a place
that would be better because you could just explore everywhere, right?
It could pass through places in the universe where other energy picks up trails and travels, and it'd be probably pretty wild, if that's possible.
But I think because of my belief system and the way I look at ghosts and spirits, like if I saw a door open or I saw someone's cupboard fly open or a drawer and this cup flew off the shelf and landed on the ground, like in those instances where I don't see anything, I don't see a physical thing doing that. I just see the door move or I see the cup fall off the counter. I would go over to that door and go, does it like,
Right.
okay, is there like how hard, if I touch it, like how easy is it for it to swing? Like, is it hard to move the door, or can I just tap it and the thing wildly moves, because the hinges are so good? Or like, is there water on the counter? Because like if you have condensation on a cup, especially a glass cup, and you put it in that water, sometimes it will slide on that water. You know what I mean? The condensation's enough to make it slide. So I'd be looking at that stuff. I'd be looking to see, like, is there a real explanation for how this could have happened? And then or even just look like, are there magnets moving it? Are there strings attached to it? Like, what possible thing could have happened to make this look like it did that when it didn't really do that? What it looks like.
Things can happen like that too that are just very weird and out of place. Like I can tell you, so my mom died when I was a kid. I was 11. She was only 40. This was in 1984. She worked for a company that made promotional items, and they made stuff for like Dr. Scholl's, and they made these plastic cups, and it said Dr. Scholl's on the side, whatever. There's like a little plastic coffee mug, and she liked ice water. So when you put the ice in this cup, it made a particular sound. Like it was unmistakable. Once you heard it, you would know.
Like a certain clunk.
It's coming from that cup or a plastic cup.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She died in the summertime, and I want to say I wasn't back in school yet, or I might have been back in school already in the fall. It was still hot. It was still hot and sunny out, I remember. And I just remember I had to go down 2 flights of stairs, one to the main floor of the house, one to the basement. And I remember I was on my way back to the basement to watch Transformers or G.I. Joes or whatever was on that day. And I'm running down the stairs and I hear that cup. And I just think, in terms of haunting or something like that, like why would you just hear a specific sound of ice in a cup? And I was the only one there. And it was just something to grab your attention. You look around, you don't see anything. You're like, oh, that was weird. And you just go out back. I didn't even think anything of it. I just kept going, but it's ingrained in my memory, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was another time it was really windy out where the wind's so strong that it's sort of whistling in your ears. And I thought audibly that I heard her call me home. And I went to run home like, wait a minute, she's not there. What am I doing? Weird. I wasn't seeing things. I was hearing things. It was weird. Like, why would it be these random weird pieces out of it when you envision it as the person would say, hey, John, it's me, Uncle Larry, I'm back. Let's have a drink and let's talk about what's on the other side, or or a silent, you'd see them sort of glowing and you wouldn't hear anything. Some people
or your brother would come back and turn the G.I. Joe figure like he said he was gonna do.
Right. So you have you give energy to it. So if you tell me it's haunted and I go in, I'm guessing there's a chance I'm going to hear something that's going to give me the willies.
That's what I think is going to happen.
But if you just say, hey, I'll give you $5,000 if you stay the night in this place, how much of it are you doing to me? And how much of it is the fact that you believe that it's haunted? You're going to give me the $5,000. I'll be like, well, I need $3,500 up front. And then I'm going to go get a night's sleep in this wet, damp ass basement because I need that other $1,500,
Yeah. John's the person who hides in a tool shed during a tornado. Actually, Dino, when a tornado struck when I was a kid, I went outside and looked at the tornado.
My wife does that. Well, we're in the Midwest, so of course. Oh, there's a tornado warning. Let me go look.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Get your ass in the basement. Down there with the dogs all curled up in the corner,
That's when the rest of the family went down to the basement, and I was like, I can't stay here. They're like, what do you mean?
True
I go, I
Midwest move, it. Man. True
I was
Midwest
like, I gotta see it. So I went upstairs and went out the door, and I saw it in the sky, like coming down, and you could hear that like roaring sound that it makes and everything. And then I saw it like hit a tree over there. It would like hit a tree over there, and like the tree went up into debris and stuff. And then I was like, oh crap, that could be coming over here. I better go down to the basement. And I went back down. So they were like, what the hell? Like, why'd you go out there? But I said that about my dad. I mean, it's in our family because we got hit with that hurricane the first year I moved down here. and the thing went right over our condo. It was like literally the eye of the storm went over our condo. Like it seriously went straight over our building. And there was so much debris outside and so many trees that had fallen down that the parking lot drainage basically had a tree on it. So it plugged the drainage.
Oh,
you know what
geez.
I mean? So the water in the parking lot was up to the bottom of our cars. And Dad was like, if that goes up another 4 or 5 inches, it's going to be hitting and it's going to hit the door and seep in through the doors.
Oh, wow.
So all our cars are going to be flooded. So he went out there and he's trying to move the tree and all the limbs
geez.
and everything in the middle of like 300-mile-an-hour hurricane winds, like shit's flying through the air, like sticks and debris. And Dad's out there like with this thing trying to block the stuff from hitting him, and he's trying. And then like a couple more neighbors must have looked out the window. They came down and they're all moving the tree. They got it off the drain, and then they brushed away all the leaves and crap, and got the drainage going. Got the water, saved all the cars. But I was just like, the hell are you guys doing outside in a hurricane? Get back inside. It's like 200-mile-an-hour winds, and they're out there like, I'm expecting any minute now.
I've seen some crazy weather where I'm at, but
I was expecting any minute to have like a stick just fly through one of them.
I saw
Evening, Steph. How you doing? You missed all the Rake videos, Steph.
My lady.
I
think the real question of what in the background is
Superman. Jeez.
I think the real question is we can't see where Bart Simpson's other hand is, but Kermit looks like he's having the big O back there behind John.
Oh yeah,
inappropriate. You're gonna get flagged for inappropriate content.
E.T. fell down too.
E.T. definitely went home.
Yeah.
All the way home.
You could see Bart's hands. They're right there and there.
Something's not showing. I don't know. Something's going on with Kermit.
With Kermit.
He's having a damn good time.
Oh.
Speaking of Kermit, we got to go on the Muppet 3D Muppet show one last time before they took it out.
Mark, we did too. That was good. Yeah.
What's up, Mark?
Hey, G-Force, what's up? Yeah, well, I mean, we can play one of those clips real quick again, but then we're gonna wrap it up. Which one do you think was the scariest one?
The first one was decent, and that attic one was really bad. I mean, bad as in scary, but that first one when he jumps in the windows.
Yeah.
Hello?
He's not moving very fast.
I paused it on the end.
Yeah, he's not moving very fast.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the guy? You think he should have been running away?
He's not moving, but he's trying to watch his step. But I'm like, dude, get out of there.
Yeah, I'd be running. Yeah.
Hello?
Like, why is it so blurry and weird? Yeah,
I'd like to know too if he's only seeing it through the camera.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to know.
Well, he said that he heard something, which is why he pointed the camera at the window and said hello. Yeah. He seriously thought he heard somebody outside, like another person.
Yeah, because he was like, hello.
He was like, hello, who are you? Like, who's outside? You know?
Right. Show her the one in the attic.
Oh, the attic one? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Hello?
Doesn't that actually sound like the same person?
But the look.
I wonder if these videos came from the same people.
Oh no, we've been had.
Hello? Hello?
It is. It's the same person, isn't it?
Bullshit.
It
I
was
think it's the same
it was
person.
not the same person along with him or whoever was screaming, but yeah, he's like,
Okay, you think
hello,
so?
hello.
Yeah, yeah. The hello sounds similar, I
It
guess.
did, it
Yeah,
did.
yeah. But those,
He said,
yeah, that's.
Darth Nihilus, I thought you had leaves to rake.
Uh,
I don't think the scream was the same, but the hello sounded very similar.
yeah.
It's, I mean, look, it's something to take a deep dive in.
She's
Maybe
like,
see where
what
it
the?
originated, because obviously all these tales they get taller as time goes on. So at one point, John mentioned earlier, it was called a demon or a skinwalker or something like
Or
that.
it's
Now
the
they're
ghoul, a
calling it a rake,
ghoul. It was
a
like way back, they
ghoul.
called it a ghoul. Yeah.
They're calling it a rake. It's something different. It's not a ghost. It's not. It's like in between.
That's what I said, G-Force. How has nobody shot one of these? Like, seriously, if I'm going on a paranormal hunt, I'm taking a gun with me, and if something jumps out like that, it's getting shot.
Yeah.
Like, so it better not be a person in a costume because they're
Oh,
getting
they're
killed.
screwed. And
You
like
know
I
what I mean?
said,
Yeah, they're
is this
screwed.
guy
Yeah,
waiting every night to scare somebody at this
yeah.
place? Like, it's so
Well,
random.
I'm having nightmares tonight. Yeah, like would you run away, Steph, if you saw that, or would you like investigate and be like, what was that outside the window? Let's go check it out. Like what do you like? What is your mindset? I think I'd leave. I'm with that
Yeah,
guy.
I'd get the
I'm
hell out
leaving. I'm getting the
for
hell out of
sure.
there. But it is like you kind of want to like know what it was.
Did you
That was
ever
Darth Ellis. Yeah.
did you ever get some friends together and say, let's go ghost hunting? And you try to
Oh,
go to
we wanted to.
well, we
Yeah.
did. So one year on Halloween, we get like 6 or 8 of us together and we go to this little out in the country cemetery. And when you're in the parking area, it's just gravel big enough for about 4 cars. You
Can
can
we
see
go, G-Force?
you can
Can
see
we
the
go to the
stones.
witch's grave?
You can see the stones and then the trees, and then there's like a hill that goes up. And we wanted to believe that we were seeing something so bad that we were like, look right there. There's somebody standing there. Look right there. There's somebody standing there. There's somebody under that tree. Somebody under that tree. I'm like, no, it's just a stone. It's a headstone. Got freaked out. We thought it moved and we got the hell out of there. I went
Yeah.
back later on during the day and it was a garbage can on the other side of the cemetery under a tree. But I'll tell you what, at night with the right amount of shadow, that was a rake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. He's
Old
like,
Chuck
no, I'm
Norris.
not going back up there. He says, Sags, we'll have to discuss the witch's grave in my hometown.
Ooh,
And I'm like, we got to go then. If when I come up there to see G-Force, we'll go to the witch's grave.
yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not going back
We'll
up
just
there.
go during the day.
We'll do a video and we'll see if we
Haunted
see
places during
anything.
the day. I'm now standing outside the witch's grave. I'm going to go in. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah.
Never heard from again.
I'd go full Chuck Norris and
Never
roundhouse.
heard from again, but we got the video.
Yeah. I
We
don't know
found
what
his
I'd
phone.
do. How can you
We
live
found
there?
his phone as he turned into a rake.
Palps can come move in with us.
I want to come.
There's a bunch of cool stories. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it. You can come on this show and talk about it.
He's is he in the south or the east? Southeast, right?
He's up in North or
No,
South Carolina.
yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff down there.
Yeah.
Dean's the one I'd be more concerned about. East Coast stuff, New England
New
area.
Hampshire. Yeah. There's
Got
some
everything going on up
stuff.
there.
There was a witch story in the suburb where I grew up in
Suburb witch. She's on her 3rd husband. She drinks a lot of vodka. Yeah, I've heard that tale.
in upstate New York. So I grew up in Marion, a little town, and next to me was Palmyra, where the Hill Cumorah pageant is, and where the Hill Cumorah pageant is on the hill. Hill Cumorah is supposed to be the hill that Joseph Smith was contacted by aliens and shown where to find these gold tablets. And on the gold tablets was written the Book of Mormon. So that's where the Book of Mormon came from. But for some reason now they don't have the gold tablets. He lost them after he wrote it down. What? Like how? He probably melted down the gold and sold it after he wrote it down. You know what I mean? And but anyways, so there was a neighboring hill called Prospect Hill that's right next to Hill Cumorah, which is, it's claimed that right around the same time that the angel Moroni came down and gave Joseph Smith the tablets to create the Mormon religion, they had a battle. They told him of a battle that happened between good and evil. The reason this spot was chosen was because on the neighboring hill, there was a battle between good and evil won that battle. And so the angels came down to bless this area and try to get rid of that evil, and showed him the tablets and how to basically build up this new society and a new religion and everything. And that's how the Mormon religion started. So the legend goes that on Prospect Hill, on that hill is where the battle was taking place between good and evil won. And on Prospect Hill, there's still to this day a whole bunch of evil sacrifices. Like, we went up there one day and we found a whole bunch of wooden posts that were put in the ground, like so at a level where you could sit on them. And every post on the top was carved in a pentagram. And they were in a circle.
Yeah, I found stuff like that in the woods
with
here.
these symbols on it.
Little animal
And
sacrifices.
in the middle
and stuff.
was a bigger wooden like platform. And in that platform was a whole bunch of candles, and there was blood on the platform and like feathers and pieces of fur. Like they sacrificed something on there. And they were all sitting around it on those pedestals while they sacrificed this thing on there. So they called it a witch's. Basically, they said this was a witch's place, and witches would go up there in the middle of the night and do demonic like sacrifices and things of birds and cats and other things. So it was crazy. And that's the area I grew up in. It was like with all that paranormal crap.
Yeah, so next episode when we do this, we're going to definitely be doing some cat sacrifices.
Where's his mom? That he wasn't messing with us. There's a YouTube video about it. Great local legend. Yeah, wow. Yeah, speaking of those cars that get stuck, we had a place. There was another spot near where I grew up, where behind the YMCA was an old abandoned like mental hospital back there, and we called it the castle because it was this old like looking like big ass, almost like castle looking place, like it had wings, you know what I mean?
Castle
like
big ass.
It was like a big central building, and then it had wings coming off the side of it, like little hallways, areas. So it looked kind of like, from the outside, it was all made out of stone, so it kind of looked like a castle. And but it was, the lore said that it was an old like mental house where people would go that had mental problems, and they closed it down because people were being abused there and stuff. And it was then the YMCA bought the land, and they built the YMCA close to the road. But you could drive on this dirt road alongside the YMCA and go behind it and keep going till you got to the abandoned building that we called the castle, And literally every single time we went, as you drive towards that building, the headlights on your car dim until they completely shut off when you get up close to the building. And if you put the car in reverse and back up, your headlights will turn on and then get brighter and brighter until they're full brightness. And if you once they're full bright, if you put it back in drive and pull forward, they will dim until you get to the building and be shut off by the time you get to the building. And it happened every single time. And we used to bring girls down there and freak the hell out of them. They'd be scared shitless. And then we'd be like, now let's go in the building. And the building was all boarded up, but there was one spot down the way where the boards had been broken. You could crawl in. You had to go on your hands and knees and crawl in there. And there was always dead animals in there and all kinds of freaky shit when we went in that place.
Sounds like it.
It was crazy, man. There would be stuff hanging from the ceiling, like Blair Witch style things hanging from the ceiling and stuff. And people used to do rituals and ghost hunts and all ththese things in there. It was crazy. Yeah. I don't even know why to this day we went back there 3 or 4 times, because I'm thinking about it as
girls, man.
I'm thinking about it as an adult and being like, yeah, we did it because we wanted to freak the girls out. But
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't go there now. I'd be like, no, you can't
I
freaking get
definitely
me
want to
in
go there
like,
now.
you know, like I don't want
Me
to.
and Dean will go in there like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, yeah. Steph just put an emoji in like, no. But yeah, anyway, Brett, anything you want to say before we go?
Just that anytime you talk about any of this stuff, you can really fall into a rabbit hole of conversation of so many other things. Like we got,
Yeah.
I had us talking about interplanetary stellar travel and all this stuff. Take from it what you will and believe what you want. And it's just, I think that when it comes to humanity, there's definitely something else out there that
Yeah.
we either can unknowingly control, or we have controlled in the past and forgot how through time, or we just haven't unlocked yet. Something else is on this other side of our existence. Otherwise we wouldn't have dreams and we wouldn't have our subconscious doing things with what we take in during the day, and we go to sleep and our body kind of processes it all. And there's another level to all of this. And I
Yeah.
think this all falls into it. You can call it supernatural, you can call it otherworldly, but you have to decide what of it you want to believe in. And like I said, there could be just little pieces of it along the way through your life. As you get older, you remember back to something that happened that you just don't have an explanation for. And those are the things that I think fall into this category. And
Yeah. Yeah.
for that reason, I'll always believe in the possibility that there's something else out there.
Yeah. I think it's healthier to believe that there's stuff we don't understand and don't know about. And I think it's also an interesting and fascinating aspect to this life that what we call life. Because think about it, if the unknown and unimaginary didn't exist, think about how boring life would really be.
And also think about the advancements that we could make in humankind. Like if we could do research and unlock the power, the potential power of the mind to figure things out, to share ideas, to communicate. If there was a way to unlock it, where you talk about groupthink, you get 3 people in the room, you start thinking about one thing, and you can kind of pass thoughts to each other. What if that could be magnified just exponentially, and you could unlock this great ability in us throughout humanity of any race, creed, color, religion, whatever? It would just break down all these walls and barriers, and man, it would just be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to end by saying, Brett, anybody who comes on this show, if you do find a clip, or you have a clip of something that you've actually witnessed yourself and you want to share it with us, please bring it on or send it to us on Instagram or whatever. DM us and share the clip, and we'll talk about it on the show in a future episode. And anybody in the chat, if you've got something you want to come on and share with us, you're welcome to come on as a guest and share with us the experiences you've had, and we'll talk about it.
Sure.
If you've got video or photographs to share, that's even better. You know what I mean? I think it'd be cool to open it up to that. Like you said, someone shared a video with you on your show, and I think that'd be cool if we could get some of that happening over here as well. So
you think about what it takes to set off a doorbell camera.
Yeah.
And these orbs were so full or thick or not, I guess, opaque, whatever the term I'm looking for, that when it floated up into the field of vision, it set it off.
It set it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I don't have any ghost stories. I just wish I did. Wow. I believe in ghosts of witches based on experiences. Lived in an apartment where something would pass through our bodies.
That sounds like an ex-wife for sure.
Pet pictures. Wow. We had odd experiences. Not sure if it's haunted though. I had a lot of weird experiences at the hospital. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Security at a hospital. Like you're talking about pets here. When I grew up, this was one thing that blew my mind out. And I'll just, before we end the show, I'll bring this up. but a friend of mine's cat passed away, and I'm not kidding. I'd love to find the photograph still. This was really freaky, but he swears that he saw the cat in his bedroom or whatever, after the cat died. Like, this is a couple weeks after they buried it and everything. And just to be sure that the cat was there, he threw a towel over it, but not like over it completely. It was like over where he could still see the cat. So, like, from his vision, like looking at it on the floor, the cat had a towel over it, kind of like, where you put this over its head, but you can still see its face and its body, right? And he took the photo, and in the photograph, the towel is just up in that shape and there's nothing under it.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's like, he goes, the photo proves that it was a ghost cat, because he goes, what's holding up the towel?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the
Yeah.
photo, he put it on the cat's head. So he's like a little washcloth or something. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's like, if it wasn't there, what's holding it up? And you can see right through under the washcloth. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, I guess it wasn't like a towel. I mean, it was like, yeah, like washcloth size or whatever, hand towel size.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he had the photo and was showing it around to all of us, because, we were all like, after he got it developed, he's like, holy shit, there's nothing there. Like, so because it freaked him out first that he saw his dead cat in the room, and it was there for hours. He said it was walking around, it was acting just like it always did. So he was like, either it's the ghost of my cat in solid form, or another cat got in the house that looks exactly the same as the cat that just died. You know what I mean? Like, so he was like, just to be sure, I'm going to take a photo of it. But then he thought, well, maybe I'll put something on it so we know that it was there. And he took a photo with that hand towel on it. And then when the photos got developed, there's nothing there. The hand towel's just like there in the air. Like,
Yeah.
like he's like, what's holding it up if my cat wasn't there?
Jeez.
I got to find him and see if he's still got that
I
photo.
think between Pod Racing Palpatine and G-Force Mark, you get some nice stories too.
Ask one day about the Green Army, man. Yeah. There are parts of the underground in my home that are really haunted. That's mad. Yeah, wild.
And Keith Knight has some stuff that was published in a ghost story book.
It's also published in Ghost. Wow. Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah, you got to come on sometime. That'd be awesome, Keith.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Brett, thanks a lot for joining me today. Guys, thanks for being in the chat and talking paranormal with us. Hope you guys enjoyed taking a brief look at the Rake. And as you think about it the next few days, I'd love to know what you really come to a conclusion on. Is the Rake a real monster, or is this just made up? Is it an internet legend and people are just hoaxing it all over the world? Like, what do we got going on here?
Right.
What is the Rake?
Make sure to look under your chair, look in the closet, and under your bed before you go to sleep tonight.
I don't know if you actually want to look under your bed. What if you saw something
But
under
take
your
your
bed?
camera so
What
you
if
can send us the
what if
footage.
you were going to bed and you're there in your jammies and you look under the bed and there's actually a monster under
Make
there?
sure that phone is on.
Because now you're laying on the ground,
That's
looking
right.
under your bed,
Just take your
and this
phone with you.
monster's under there, like, raw.
Why it's good to
Like,
take your phone to the bathroom with you. Just take it with you.
yeah. I still hear my cat jumping onto furniture, and she passed away over a year ago. Yeah.
Right. See, it's always those sounds, those familiar
Yeah,
sounds.
the sounds. Yeah. Later. See you later, guys.
Yep. See you guys.
All right. Thanks, Brett. We'll
Yep.
talk again soon.
Yeah.
Stay awesome, everybody.